Today's episode is brought to you by the Vegas Beer Guys.
Everything sequel contains explicit language. And why the fudge not, you melon farmer?
Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel Podcast. This is the Batman edition. A certain Batman edition. My name is Michael Shantz of the How Dare You Awards, coming to you from Pacific Beach. Joining me, your friend and mine, of course, Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions. Hello, Tom!
Bum! 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 For anyone who doesn't know,
Holy shit.
and you'd be forgiven for forgetting, that is Bane from Batman and Robin. Just to reiterate, Bane is in Batman and Robin.
Just so you know, Bane's in that fucking movie.
Not portrayed by Tom Hardy.
No.
However, I gotta say, at least we can understand what he's saying.
Okay.
Not only is
you might have had a different watching experience than me.
Not only is he helpfully monosyllabic in Batman and Robin, but if Tom Hardy if it had gone through the Tom Hardy vocal filter, I think it would have been more like
Yeah. But I had that moment because I had a specific moment where I had to 10-second, I had to TiVo that shit, something that he said.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy says something to him, and I was like, what did he say? And so I 10-second, and then I 10-second, I had to put on the closed captions.
Really?
And yeah. And I
I'm gonna say he's making it pretty easy.
Normally, but in this
he just
one moment,
repeats one word.
But in this one moment, my note that I wrote down was, "This fucker went Tom Hardy on me. I can't understand what he's fucking saying."
Maybe he knew. Maybe that's what Tom Hardy watched for inspiration.
Exactly.
Maybe he was petitioning them for a Lucha Libre mask on the set of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, exactly.
Somehow I doubt it.
I don't think so. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Batman series, but a particular Batman series, correct, Tom?
Correct. Yeah, we're the first iteration, the first Bat cycle.
Yeah.
If I may use an image from the series itself, the first Bat cycle.
Bat cycle 1, we'll call it.
Yeah.
So we will not at all be dealing with Christopher Nolan,
except in how much he took from these movies, which is, let's face it, everything.
Yeah.
And nothing at the same time.
Yeah. So we are dealing with 1 Tim Burton film and 2 Joel Schumacher films.
That's right. Although Burton was producer on one of those
Batman
Schumacher
Forever.
movies.
Correct, yeah.
Which is interesting.
It is interesting.
And I always forget that's the case.
I had forgotten it until I rewatched it, and the thing that's most interesting to me about that, do you know the story about him not making a third Batman movie?
Not specifically, no. I tried to...
I can't remember the name, but I remember hearing a story of Tim Burton excitedly telling a producer his ideas for his third Batman movie. He really wanted to make a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And he could see the look on the producer's face that said, yeah, okay.
Eesh.
And I think it was because, look, no, it's no secret that Tim Burton's vision of Batman is a darker tone than obviously what ended up happening for the last 2 sequels of these movies. And Batman Returns at the time, still now even, I think catches a lot of shit for being as dark as it is.
Yeah.
Which I think is nonsense, but we'll talk
well,
about
it's
it when
nonsense
we talk
that it
about
catches shit, but I think it's
exactly.
It's factual
it's
that
factually
it is
true.
Factually true, but not a bad thing at all.
Right, exactly. And he could just see the look. You know when Alan Alda has a communication school at Stony Brook College where
Yes.
he teaches scientists and doctors
Yes.
to communicate better through improv games.
That's right.
And a lot of it has to do with, you don't just listen with your ears. You listen with your eyes. You listen with your heart. You look at somebody, and he, as he was describing his third Batman film, he was looking at this producer's face, and all of a sudden he just said, "You don't want to make this movie, do you?"
Mm.
And he said, "Well, the thing is," and he goes, and just right then and there, Tim Burton said, "You know what? I'm out.
Yeah.
That's fine. If this is not what you want to do, then, have a nice day." And once he was out, I mean, I know that I read that Michael Keaton took a meeting with Joel Schumacher, but hearing the happy dance, goggles that he was going to put on the Batman series, he had no interest. And without Tim Burton, he wasn't interested, and he dropped out. And the entire series got reworked.
Well, here's my hot take on this series, such as it is.
Go.
These are some of the strangest movies of the 90s that have big Hollywood money behind them.
Oh my God.
And now I know Batman and Robin, its reputation precedes it for being exactly that. But I don't want to let these other two movies off the hook. All these movies, in their own way, are, pun intended, batshit crazy. Like each movie in this franchise goes a way that you would never anticipate based on what the previous movie was. Like you expect this kind of
okay, yeah.
You expect this kind of double down on whatever their success story predecessor was, and it never comes.
Yeah. No, you're right about that for sure.
Because, I mean, Batman, we're not talking much about the original 1989 Batman, but there was such a rip-roaring success, you would expect there would be a lot of pressure for Tim Burton to do something of a remake or something of a rehash, and he goes in exactly the opposite direction. I'm really glad he did.
That's the thing. Yeah, me too. And the thing about that first Batman movie was that, listen, they gave Tim Burton the job, but they didn't let Tim Burton be Tim Burton. They kind of handcuffed him a little bit.
Well, that's
which is fairly well known, I think. And so that movie is Tim Burton muffled.
Right, there's some Burton
Batman
touches
Returns
there.
is full Tim Burton.
Yeah, his style is just let loose.
Yeah, exactly.
To the point where I'm not sure if I'm watching Batman Returns or Edward Scissorhands or The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right. Did you notice, because one of my notes is in that first fight scene when the Red Triangle gang attacks.
Right.
When they're trying to light the Christmas tree, there is full-on Nightmare Before Christmas music, orchestrated music in that scene.
Well, I made the same note. I said I know that like Danny Elfman's Tim Burton scores all kind of sound the same, but he's definitely road testing Nightmare Before Christmas.
Absolutely.
And, visually and in storytelling too, in Batman Returns.
Yeah.
I've noted several instances of this, which we will get to. It's no coincidence, I don't think, that Nightmare Before Christmas came out the year after this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all roads leading to Jack. Yeah, exactly. All roads lead to Jack Skellington.
To Jack Skellington. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we are here. This is our introductory episode, so we are here to rank these movies and declare them good or bad. Tom.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had an easier time doing this. How about you?
Really?
Yeah.
I found it surprisingly challenging.
God damn it! What's the matter with you?
I thought I always knew where I stood with these movies because I saw all of them on release, and I've seen them subsequently a few times since. But this time around, things were really, my opinions were really thrown off. Some things that I'd always suspected were confirmed, and then other things that I didn't see coming just hit me for the first time.
I'm fascinated now.
You're worried, is what you are. You're saying fascinating in that kind of Leonard Nimoy Spock way, which, as we all know, means a lot of people are about to die.
Yeah. Well, I was going to follow up fascinated immediately by, if you tell me the third is your favorite in the series, I'm going to have to light you on fire.
Okay. I'll leave that an open flame for a while then. Just as a preview, I say I don't think this isn't a Revenge of the Thirds situation.
All right.
I'm not gonna Halloween 3 you this time.
Yeah, man. Halloween 3.
Which actually, I saw a lot of Halloween 3 Season in the Witch in the storyline of Batman Forever. I feel like the villain plot in that is pretty identical to, and it's Halloween.
Yeah, which comes out of nowhere, by the way. There's no mention of Halloween in this movie until kids just start showing up trick-or-treating.
I know. Yeah, and they really need to look into the security situation in Wayne Manor.
At Wayne Manor, exactly. And I know Alfred's old, but you should be able to tell the difference between a grown adult and a child, even if they're wearing masks. Just saying.
Yeah, although, it's not until Batman and Robin that we learn that he is also Max Headroom. That's right. Bane is in Batman and Robin, and Alfred turns out to be Max Headroom. Both of these things happen in that movie.
Oh, fuck.
And, that's on a par with what's weird about the other two. I'm not going to single out Batman and Robin as the only weird movie in this weird franchise.
Yeah, but it's the weirdest.
I don't know. To me, okay. In some ways, that movie is a breath of cool, fresh air. Fresh ice air.
You're trying to add a 30th ice joke or pun to that fucking movie.
That's right. We're going to have to talk about ice puns, for sure.
I overshot it a bit. I believe there's officially 27 ice puns in that movie.
But you know what? When it's not an ice pun that Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze is saying, it's a pun of some kind.
Oh,
he has a pun addiction. He cannot speak in anything but puns. Ice or otherwise.
In puns. Yeah.
Someone should calculate how many times he makes a pun in that movie, and I will stake the value of my house right now on this being over 75% of his dialogue.
I'd like to know the ice pun per minute.
That's really interesting.
Somebody should calculate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look forward to coming 2022, Ice Pun Minute. We do ice puns from all the great movies 1 minute at a time.
We're going to start a separate podcast just called Ice Puns, where we spend an hour talking about each individual ice pun. There'll be 27 episodes.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you want to do? Do you want to declare first, or would you like to rank first?
I would like to rank first, because I think it will annoy you less.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, now I really am worried.
You should be.
All right, fine. Wow. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you probably should. For your sanity and the
For
sanity
my
of
sake?
the listeners. We should probably get like a,
Before
we should probably get like a room tone of what this is supposed to be. Right? Before we get into
we travel down the weary road of your fucking bleak mind.
Before we go down the Robert Altman experimental sound editing route that I'm going to take it down.
All right. Listen. Easy. I can't believe that this would not be your ranking as well.
Okay.
Tom, simply, they are in order. It cannot be questioned. It's 2, 3, 4.
Okay. I agree with I was going to say I agree, but I agree with none of that. No, I do. So you're going 2, 3, 4?
Oh, yeah. Have to.
Okay.
Returns forever, Robin.
I will go Returns. I have a feeling. Our feelings about that movie are will all be almost identical from what you said so far.
That's what I was most scared about. So
okay,
at
good.
least I don't have to bloodlet myself.
No, I mean,
and sanity is gonna at least rear its head in this conversation.
No, I mean, because my favorite Tim Burton movie is Ed Wood, which is 94.
Uh-huh.
I think this is his best period of filmmaking.
Yeah.
I think just looking at Batman Returns itself, I think the character-based approach, the heavily politicized approach,
it's so
of the
good.
Movie, it completely justifies itself, and it needs to because this is not a superhero movie or an action movie.
Right.
And if you scrutinize the storytelling, which, is part of our project, the script gets very muddied and is extremely underdeveloped. But, I'm not going to penalize it for that. You remember when we did Superman 3 and...
It's like that, but, it's like the you're right. It's like the elements are there, but it sort of bobs along.
For sure.
Trying to get there, yeah.
But when we did Superman 3, it's very clear in that movie that Superman is a minor character in his own story. Mm-hmm. And I think here, it's even more so Batman is a supporting character here. But I don't feel the need to...
Yes and no, for me.
Okay, let me give you a statistic.
Go ahead.
It's 13 minutes into the movie before he appears or is mentioned.
I love that though.
And then another 20 minutes before his second appearance. Okay. Right. But I'm not holding that against the movie. Okay. I too love that because I think what the rest of what this movie has going on is magnificent, and I also think it's such a strong piece of direction by Tim Burton. Boy, do I miss those days.
Yeah.
Because I mean, always the thing that's always said about Tim Burton, which I think is true on his worst day, is that he's more of a production designer than a director.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But for his best movies, again, I think he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, but he had a huge hand in it.
But everything about that movie reads right. Tim Burton. Yeah.
And this Nightmare Before Christmas, Ed Wood, this is his peak period for me, where he's his directorial hand is completely assured. And in this movie, his visual style is just let loose.
Yeah.
And it's a wonder to behold. Like there feels like weirdly there's no in one of his most studio bound movies. There's like literally no reins on him whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess that's just the success of Batman.
No, yeah, I think yeah, absolutely.
But so for all those reasons and a whole lot more, which we'll discuss in the next episode, it's definitely the best of the bunch.
Great. So I assume.
Assume nothing. Assume nothing.
Well, you said we're going to be differing, so that means you must have Batman and Robin above Batman Forever.
Yes.
All right. I want to be mad at you, just because it's such a bad movie.
Listen.
To the point where it's almost unwatchable, but
okay, listen.
It is also hypnotic.
No. Yes, it is hypnotic.
Yeah, it really is.
And I like hypnosis. That is a good quality in a movie for me. Listen, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I do not concur with the consensus that this Batman and Robin being a famously bad movie and an unmitigated disaster. I just can't. I have tried. The pressure of society and culture has made me want to believe that, but in the end, I can't. And I'm gonna. Well, you've already heard my ranking. So I'm gonna go to Batman Forever, and
so definitively you're 2, 4, 3.
Yeah, and the reason I put Batman Forever on the bottom, I have been fighting how underwhelmed by this movie I have always been. It's been a huge struggle. I feel right.
I'll agree with that completely.
But here's the thing. This time watching it through, I was like, I'm always struggling to see the good and the enjoyment factor in this movie. Let me just give you a little bit of context that will probably illuminate you. I first saw Batman Forever on a plane. Okay?
Oh no!
I'm not talking about any personalized entertainment system. I'm talking about the screen in the cabin, at the front of the cabin. You have no choice but to watch it. So that's the first time I saw the movie, which is always going to be problematic as a viewing experience.
Less good than any other experience. Okay.
So I'm already prejudiced. I already feel underwhelmed just by the viewing conditions.
Sure.
But I've seen it multiple times since, and I've just never been able to.
It hasn't gotten better.
No, it hasn't gotten better, and it hasn't gotten better. In the end, I just have to conclude. This is what I mean about some things being confirmed to me that, against, I guess, the majority of people out there, there is too much in this movie that fundamentally does not work and falls flat. And
agreed.
But here's the thing. It is such a loud, garish movie, visually and orally.
Agreed.
That I don't want to give it a pass.
Agreed.
But here's why I think Batman and Robin is better. We'll get to the good and bad in a minute, and I'm still agonizing over that. But Batman and Robin is, for all its major, major, major faults, including all of the performances by women in the movie, is comfortable in its broadness, and it's in its owns and it's in on its own absurdity, and that is something that Batman Forever still wants to have it both ways. And I don't know whether Tim Burton's looking over Joel Schumacher's shoulder and saying like, you can't make it that ridiculous.
Calm down, yeah, right.
But there is so much insecurity in Batman Forever. Overall in this series, the reason I like this series more than the Nolan trilogy, and I don't even want to.
Whoa! Wow!
I don't even want to talk about. I don't even want to mention the Justice League stuff. That doesn't even come on the radar.
No, yeah.
Is because what this has that the Nolan trilogy for me doesn't have, except a little bit in Batman Begins, is this constant push and pull between. So like pre-movie series, there's two different Batmans that people know. There's the comic book Batman,
sure,
which is, generally, and this is caricaturing to some extent, but it's darker, it's more serious, it's kind of comic book noir. And then there's the 1960s TV series,
right,
fronted by Adam West, which is, famous for its excess of style and its colorful camp. Okay? And what I like about this series is that constant push and pull between those two ideas of what Batman is.
I agree with you.
And to me, that is something, Nolan and his brother, the brothers Nolan, kind of...
It's devoid of.
They're only really channeling the graphic novel side of things.
Yeah.
And that, for a lot of people, that's all they need. I need both. I
don't need both.
I need a dynamic duo of those two.
But I appreciate both.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, and I'm
But I don't know if this will come as a surprise to you, but I think in Batman Returns, especially, like the first Batman, but Batman Returns especially, I think Tim Burton actually does that really well. I see both.
I think to
as
different...
dark as Batman Returns is, I see the 1960s show within it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And that's what, that's what The Dark Knight, and certainly The Dark Knight Rises, doesn't have. I mean, remember the first thing we said is we're not going to talk about Christopher Nolan? But so I won't. But, but I think all of these movies have that to different extents and to different levels of success.
Okay.
And so that is a big factor in how I'm analyzing this. Batman and Robin, to me, is more comfortable with just embracing that side of Batman mythology. And I think what weakens Batman Forever in that regard, for me, is that it's trying to have that association both ways, and I find it a little bit pretentious.
Yeah, but you already stated that you like that. What you like is the kind of push and pull of that. Whereas, Batman and Forever, to me, Batman Forever is at least trying that. Batman and Robin is devoid of the noir and is just the camp.
Well, here's the other problem. I'm talking from your perspective here. I think there are things. This is where I'm really struggling with good and bad when it comes to Batman and Robin, because there are obviously things that I like about Batman and Robin that fall into the so bad it's good camp.
Okay.
There's something you frequently bring up, which is the taking a big swing. And the bonus points you get for taking a big swing, even if it doesn't always pull off.
Sure.
But
Die Hard 3.
But the extra element is, for me, is that I think there are scenes in Batman and Robin that are well acted, well written, and well directed. There's not many of them, but they're there, and I struggle to find. I struggle to find
that in Batman and Forever.
No, there is literally nothing in Batman Forever that I feel is executed to the level that one or two scenes in Batman and Robin are. So I've really struggled with that. But should we go good and bad, because we're starting to talk about that anyway?
Yeah, sure.
And I I need a breather, so go ahead.
Fine. Mine, again, very simple. Good. Batman Returns, good. Batman Forever, bad. Batman and Robin, bad.
Okay. So we're not too dissimilar there then. So obviously, I mean, everything, it's no surprise. I think Batman and Robins is an extraordinarily good movie. But whichever... I was going to say... Oh, sorry, Batman... Did I say Batman Forever?
You said Batman and Robin.
No, I meant Batman Returns.
Okay.
I think I was forcing myself to say that.
I was just about to say that that's fantastic and my brain is melting, but...
No. Okay, no, sorry. Batman Returns is a...
And it's funny you say that because I was just going to say that I'm declaring it a good movie, but I like what I think is that it's a great movie.
I think it's a great movie too.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent movie in all regards, but as a Batman movie or a superhero movie or an action movie, which is, let's face it, what it was sold as. But that doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me, and it shouldn't bother us.
All, though. Yeah, exactly.
Because we're a sequel podcast. If you make a good film on its own terms, it doesn't matter what came before or after, right? That's what we say. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our ethos. Batman and I gotta go. Batman and I gotta answer this next. Okay, Batman Forever is a bad movie.
All right.
Batman and Robin.
Tom.
I'm trying to be numerical about this. Look,
even all the actors in it think it's a terrible movie.
Well, I think George Clooney is doing himself a disservice when he disparages this movie.
They also are very thankful for having been in it. I'll give you that.
So I
think the one actor that doesn't think, I think Uma Thurman loved having free reign to be as broad as she is in the movie, does not at all regret the movie, and thinks the movie is as much campy fun as it could be.
And gives the worst performance in the movie. By a country mile. Okay. But
I don't know. Chris O'Donnell, maybe giving her a run for her money.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's a toss up. It's a two-faced coin toss up for sure. Actually, I'm gonna say the worst performance in the movies we're looking at is Tommy Lee Jones. But anyway,
I've got plenty to say about that. But we'll get there when we get there.
But I've got the old. I just how it embraces, it understands what it is and what it wants to be. I feel like this is Joel Schumacher's Batman Returns. He is just letting his ludicrous ideas and style run free in a way that is so entertaining. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed watching Batman and Robin this time through. I don't really know why. And then there were things I genuinely, earnestly liked too. So I don't know what to do.
Declare, goddammit!
I'm gonna declare it. It's a borderline good for me.
You know that you think it's good. Come on. Yeah.
I do think it's good. I already gave the Freudian slip answer where I said that I was talking about Batman Returns,
exactly.
But I said Batman and Robin, so everyone knows.
Oh, I don't know. Your passion might sway me. It's because I'm looking over my notes, and I don't mind telling you that I revel in how bad it is.
I just don't. I mean, there's just something. I feel like this is what's so hard for me is that there are moments where I think Batman Forever is more of a solid movie in lots of ways, but I think for what Joel Schumacher is as a director, like, he needs to lean into that excess of style for it to justify itself. Because if you're trying to make out you're some kind of psychological thriller, which he frequently does throughout Batman and Batman Forever, it completely, it just feels really hollow because it's a superficial movie that doesn't like the idea of people thinking it's a superficial movie, and I hate that.
Yeah, but I think that Batman and Robin is just as superficial.
No, but
with its ideas of partnership.
But it's just something about I don't know, and this is again another big controversial statement, but the actors in Batman and Robin look comfortable with what they're doing to me. and all the actors in Batman Forever don't. I mean, I'm going to say with the exception of Alfred. You can add with the exception of Michael Gough's Alfred to every statement I make. Because I will not hear a word against any of his performances in any of his movies.
I think you might be right about that, but I think that might have been not to do with Joel Schumacher, not to do with the direction of the movies, but having to do just with personalities. Because I could tell you for a fact that Val Kilmer did not get along with Joel Schumacher. I could tell you for a fact that Tommy Lee Jones did not get along with Jim Carrey.
I can tell you that for a fact by watching their performances on screen together.
And I think and you're right. Like all of that is present in that movie.
There is no least convincing piece of acting than Tommy Lee Jones having to pretend he thinks Jim Carrey's funny.
Yes.
I have never seen a worse attempt.
Absolutely.
So I'm all over the place with this, but I gotta stick to my freeze guns. Which again is a thing in Batman and Robin.
Yep.
And you know, I'm saving the ace up my sleeve, but you know,
I think it might be a two of diamonds.
The turning point for me, and this is weird, and I've never felt like this watching the movie before, and I think Gremlins 2 has a lot to do with this. When John Glover turned up as the mad scientist,
oh yeah, right,
I thought, well, one, that's the best performance in the movie, hands down.
Yeah.
But two, which doesn't bode well as he dies fairly early on in the movie.
5 minutes after you meet him.
And I just thought, but I was like, look at how much that man is enjoying playing this absurd character. Like, why am I?
Oh, I can tell.
Why do I feel weird about embracing any of that?
Probably because he's such a good actor that he didn't enjoy making this movie.
He didn't?
No, not really.
He looks like he's having more fun than any. Well, I mean, that's
the
acting, isn't it?
Was absurd. Yeah.
That's acting, is making it look like you're enjoying yourself. I was going to save
this, but I'll give it to you now. His big memory of this movie was looking 30 feet up in the air at Joel Schumacher on a crane in a director's chair, yelling at full voice over a megaphone, "Remember, everybody, we're making a cartoon."
Oh, that puts so many things in perspective for me.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh.
So,
boy, did they. And it's
and
it's glorious. It
yes,
is a glorious It is a glorious cartoon, and it
is hypnotic.
I would feel disingenuous withholding the joy it gives me because of some like cultural assumption that this is that this is like the Ishtar of superhero movies.
Whoa. I won't have you disparaging Ishtar.
I'm not disparaging Ishtar. I am saying exactly what you think about Ishtar.
Okay, fine.
Go
to the How Dare You podcast to listen to the Ishtar
I think this is a similar thing where
I defend it vigorously.
I think this is a similar thing where people are talking trash about this movie and
I think the difference is that people were talking shit about Ishtar having not seen it. People are talking shit about Batman and Robin after having seen it.
I talk way more shit about this movie before I saw it than after I saw it.
Yeah, but you're a rare bird.
No, I was just like, oh no, look at the bat nipples and I'm just like, oh, it's like you see the bat nipples in context. It doesn't feel out of place. It's not the absurd. I mean, everything in this movie, if you remove it from context, is just. I mean, the jar puppets. What the fuck is going on there? But if ever there was a,
I do have a note that says, "Why is Audrey 2 making an appearance in this fucking movie?"
I had a note at the time that said, "It's like I don't think Little Shop of Horrors needs to be worried about anything that's going on puppetry-wise here.
Right.
But it just, to me, it kind of, it crystallized. I'm using an ice pun already. It crystallizes. You can't help it when you talk about this movie. It crystallizes into something which I find kind of beautiful. But, I mean, it's... I don't know. I'm... Next time I see it, I'll probably hate it. But... I feel... And again, I think back-to-back viewings, it's a different viewing experience, and it changes how you feel about the movies. And it was just such a welcome return to, like, a fluid sense of what you want to be. And to me, Batman Forever was all about, we don't quite know what our identity is now. Let's just throw as much as we can of what we've done before at the wall.
At the wall.
And please no one. Which, wasn't that the biggest movie? Wasn't that the most successful movie in the series? Like, by a mile? Of the ones we're doing?
Yeah, I mean... Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it does help when you have all the, like, biggest bands and recording artists of the time on the soundtrack. That does give you a leg up.
Yeah, I think there are things at play other than the movie itself, even though it's,
Jim Carrey, the height of his fame.
Not right. Yeah, there are things at play in the world and in Hollywood that, of course, help that movie, and Jim Carrey is one of them. I couldn't speak to exactly where Hollywood was with a worldwide market, but that movie had a huge worldwide market, so I don't know if in the 3 years between the movies that grew to such an extent that it helped the movie, but...
It was definitely on a plane. So that speaks to its international appeal, that it was it was something we were forced to watch on a plane along with Rowan Atkinson live.
But also you have to remember, you see a preview for that movie and the last thing you saw was Batman Returns, which is a great fucking movie. So you are, even though you know that Michael Keaton's not back, even though you know there's another director, you're still excited for Batman.
I would dispute both. I would dispute... we'll talk about this when we get to the film, but I'm going to dispute both of those things. I think the movie is trying to play a game where it doesn't necessarily want you to know that they've recast Keaton as Val Kilmer and or that Tim Burton's not directing.
All right. Well, we'll get there when we get there, but first up, ladies and gentlemen, will be Batman Returns, the 1992 film directed by Tim Burton. So, if you have an issue with our rankings or our declarations...
Why would anyone?
I agree.
I can't imagine how anyone would dispute anything either of us have said.
We're both right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find us
on
Instagram.
And that one of us is right, yeah.
Find us on Facebook or Twitter. Send us an email to everythingsequel@gmail.com. All right, Tom, that's it. I'm 234. You are 243. I think I got good, bad, bad for 234. You have got... You're officially declaring good on Batman and Robin, right?
Yeah, I have to.
All right.
Going with my gut.
Good, bad. Good, bad. We're going to hash it out, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for Batman Returns coming up next. For Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions, I am Michael Shantz from the How Dare You Awards. Say goodbye, Tom.
I believe the word you're looking for is ah!
We'll see you next time.
I like to think I know something about beer.
But nowadays, even I get overwhelmed when confronted by the exhaustive selection of craft beers they have at bars, breweries, and even grocery stores. Back in the day you had one, maybe two craft beers to choose from, and if you were confused, you ordered a Guinness. But in beerstinations like San Diego, the craft beer options lately are in double, sometimes even triple digits. So what's a beer drinker to do? You need what I need, the Vegas Beer Guys. Your beer of choice should be a perfect blend of malt and hops. And so a live show about beer needs that same balance. And the Vegas Beer Guys matches beer expert Dan Aker with self-proclaimed beer novice Stephen J. Weiss. The results are eminently drinkable. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They'll try new beers, they'll tell you about beer. Think of them as your beer Sherpas guiding you up a foamy-headed mountain to reach the peak of your pint. God, I need a beer.